told you when I make the pickup! Ah! Again! Don't! I told you everything!
I know, Rick. I know you did. But let's pretend you didn't.
Hello everyone, this is Pico Entertainment and we are back again, and here now we have another video for you, and this will be a look back on a comic book cult adventure, Darkman. Released on August 24th, 1990, it stars Liam Neeson, Frances McDormand and Larry Drake, and it was directed by Sam Raimi. Now the story of Darkman is set within present day, following scientist Peyton Westlake, who's in a happy relationship with his attorney girlfriend, Julie Hastings. As a scientist, Peyton strives to find a secret formula of building regenerative skin tissue. His stumbling block is that the reformed cells can only last for 99 minutes before disintegrating. Having finally discovered the last ability is linked to the exposure of the dark, Peyton's lab is broken into by criminals looking for a memorandum that's incriminating as proof of bribery and corruption. After this attack, Peyton is left brutally burned and horribly disfigured. From the chemical exposure from this attack, he also finds that he has certain superhero strength. Disillusioned at having lost his entire life, Peyton escapes hospital and yearns to continue building the regenerative tissue in hopes of reforming himself. However, Peyton discovers the identity of his attackers and he becomes psychotically unhinged and completely obsessed in tracking down and ultimately gaining his revenge. Now when looking back on Darkman, it's a very entertaining, fast-paced comic book adventure, very dark and also very funny. There are tones of vengeance and a love story and also the horror and macabre. Originally wanting to adapt a movie based on a DC character The Shadow, director Sam Raimi eventually went on to create his own character and went on to make the movie on a very low budget. And let's be honest, the film very much has that B-movie feel to it. There's quite a lot of sequences, transitions and edits where they clearly took shortcuts during filmmaking. It does at times come across as very tacky and schlocky. Now there will be some likely older viewers who will feel that this adds to the movie's charm. But there will also be younger viewers of the current generation who will likely laugh and pull scorn over the effects, especially after what they've been used to within the superhero genre for the last 10 to 15 years. But eventually you get used to it and it doesn't overall spoil the enjoyment of the film. And when you get into the movie itself, it's a very strong, compelling story with deep themes of vengeance, psychosis, tragedy, identity, and love story. And yes, this is very familiar territory with this type of story, but overall the movie handles the elements very well. Now it's plain to see that Darkman was one of the many superhero movies created from the huge impact of Tim Burton's Batman in 1989 in terms of the darker, gothic, more graphic comic book film. And in Darkman you can see all of those tones from Batman. This is emphasised even more so with having music composer Danny Elfman, who of course provided the music for Batman 89 as well. And you can very much hear the same levels and tones within the musical score for this film. But there are also many elements from Paul Verhoeven's classic RoboCop from 1987, in terms of the comic humour, the revenge story, and a similar plot of a disfigured hero coming back for vengeance. And admittedly, the movie does have a very playful tone and feel to it. It never goes quite into slapstick or parody, but the comical vibes are still there, and thankfully most of the humour does land. And we can't deny the penultimate action sequence, a pretty spectacular air battle as Darkman is being dragged all over the city via helicopter, crashing into buildings, with Durant firing on him, blowing up all vehicles on the freeway. It's great spectacle all round. And in terms of the character roles, I think Liam Neeson is pretty solid in the lead. He's at his best when the movie does well, focusing on Peyton's mental psychosis, struggling to reconcile with the monster that he's becoming by nature as well as physical. We have a brilliant funny scene where we see him very much descending into madness, dancing like a freak within his broken down building. And whilst moments like this are very hilarious, there are also many moments of pathos and sadness, and I think Neeson does very well to harness all of these elements throughout his character. However, the star turn of this film without question is Larry Drake as Robert G. Durant, the main crime boss of Peyton's attackers, ruthless, sarcastic and with many great one-liners and a very nasty habit of chopping off fingers with his cigar-like device. It's a great villainous performance and the movie would have been worse off without him, no doubt about it. So when we go on to the movie's overall release, and it was somewhat of a solid box office success, grossing $48.8 million from a $14 million budget. And to be honest, it's not really the most revered of comic book entries from the 90s. As I mentioned before, it very much came under the shadow created by Tim Burton's Batman, but it doesn't even get the same attention as the likes of The Shadow or The Phantom. Now the movie did spawn 2 sequels, Darkman 2, The Return of Durant, and Darkman 3, Die Darkman Die. Both went straight to video, and rightly so, as they're both very terrible, coming nowhere near to matching the compelling story or the verve and energy of the original. Now of course, director Sam Raimi would go on to enjoy far larger scale success within the comic book genre by directing a Spider-Man trilogy from 2002 to 2007, and then later on directing Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And as for Darkman itself, I think one of the reasons why it doesn't get mentioned as much is because it's comparatively small when compared to other comic book movies. It's far less quotable and less iconic than movies around its time and post its release as well. But I think many years after its release, Darkman still remains a very pacey, funny, entertaining film with enough seriousness in its themes and character not to slide into comedy, and I think this is overall a story that can still be enjoyed despite its low budget many years after its overall release. So those are my overall thoughts and feelings and review of Darkman. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have any other movies or television series or any other topics within the entertainment and pop culture scene that you'd like to see me cover, then also let me know within the comments and I will see if I can provide further commentary for you on those topics within the future. Please also hit and like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves and I will see you very soon.